Hey, hello, and how are you, everybody? Welcome back to Leading the Charge, the podcast. I'm Dom Tibbetts. That's Brother Bill. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. What an absolute stinker, Bill. The Bills falling 30-13 to the previously 2-7 Miami Dolphins in Miami. Josh Allen 14-2 coming into this game. You would never have thought that. Dolphins walk all over them, dog walk them in the first half. The Bills didn't convert a single third down until the third quarter, didn't score a point until the third quarter. Total and utter collapse for this team offensively. Defensively, there's obviously some woes there too. I was thinking about what this game reminded me a lot of, Bill, and go back to 2021. Remember they played the Jacksonville Jaguars and Urban Meyer? And you know what's really sad? I was at that game too. I was there. And I just kept thinking, I'm like, this is legitimately a flashback to Jacksonville in 2021. Same thing, an inferior opponent coming in, beating you, and the Bills have likely now we've seen them extend the career of two head coaches that probably shouldn't be head coaches now with Urban Meyer and Mike McDaniel. What are your just general thoughts before we dive into the nitty gritty details of this one, Bill?
Super disappointed, disgusted, angry, sad, mad, all the worst adjectives and everything you can think of. That's pretty much how I feel. I think it started right off the bat, right? Like Tua throws a pick, like you're feeling good. And what do? We go three and out. You have a 4th and 1, and we choose to not go for it with the dude we have under center. Like, you start off the game right away showing like what you are and your philosophy, and like you have him on the ropes right away. That's like the perfect time to take advantage of. Hey, we get the ball at halftime or after halftime. We got to turn over quick. We have to take advantage of it. We know who we are. We know who this team is. Phoenix, who traded away some of their best defensive player, one of them, who has their other best offensive player on IR and hasn't done anything all season, and you don't trust yourself enough to go for it on 4th and 1 to start off that game after you have a huge turnover on their offensive possession. It's just cowardly. It's so cowardly the way we do almost everything.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It just set like the tempo, right? Like the not going for it on 4th down. Cole Bishop, I thought was, a tone setter in that first play. And I remember I'm sitting here in the newsroom watching it, and I talked to one of our digital people, and I see this play. It's like 3 or 4 plays and whatever it was. And I go, oh my God, the Bills are going to win by 30 today.
Right.
I just felt that juice. And then all of a sudden it was gone. And to watch this offense just sputter with 2 or 3 straight 3-and-outs. I don't think they had 2 straight 3-and-outs in the last 2 seasons, let alone 2 in the same game. I don't know what team got off the plane and off the bus into Miami Gardens yesterday, but that wasn't the Buffalo Bills that we are normally used to seeing. Like, go back to the home game on Thursday Night Football. Like, yeah, the Dolphins were a little bit healthier, and the season was still in reach for them at least. They were 0-2 going into that game. But I thought the Bills played much, much better that Thursday night. And you just let an inferior opponent dog walk you for 4 quarters, dominate you, and now put you in a really difficult position sitting 6-3 with a Tampa Bay squad coming up next who just lost a close one to the New England Patriots. Oh, by the way, the Patriots now have a 1.5 game lead on you in the division, making it extremely difficult. They're still playing a 4th place schedule. I'm rambling a little bit here, but the Bills really screwed themselves with this loss yesterday. And one of the things I gathered too, Bill, is I'm sure you probably saw this on Twitter. I think Matt Perino had a post about it, maybe Joe B as well, is that the Bills in the locker room after the game, the common message was they just wanted it more. Miami wanted it more. For how? How is that the mentality? How can you sit there and be okay with that? Like, come in. How do the Bills not want that game more, knowing what's at stake for them? The Dolphins have nothing to lose, and I get that's a dangerous mentality to go against with a team. But how do the Bills, sitting 6-2, trying to keep pace in the division with the Patriots, a possibility if the Patriots had lost yesterday to reclaim the division lead, you let that team dog walk all over you? That to me is where I feel just lost about this team. And that's what makes me think that there might be I'm not going to say a critical problem with this team, but there's definitely an issue that has to be addressed. And I don't know where that starts, whether that's addressing the messaging from the coaching, from the front office staff, or just the players not being on the same page. I didn't like that one bit. And that leaves me definitely with a little bit of concern moving forward here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe last year, right? If a Dolphins team wants it more and you're running away with the division, you already have it locked up by week 10. I could see that maybe. Like you take it a little easy, you mess up. But like you're not even in first place of your division. You're in the wild card. You're the 5. Yesterday you were the 5 seed. I don't know what we are now. Like there's nothing there for you to feel confident or good about. Like you need to win the division. And like we talked about behind the scenes, like this seems like the year where it's wide open. Like there's no one who looks that good, and we're shooting ourselves in the foot. And we just aren't that good then either, I guess, because like that's what it feels like now. It's a couple times might be a fluke, but it feels like a pattern that like they just can't get it going. And even in the wins, it sucks because we come on here and we hate to do it, and we talk to each other about how much we hate it, and we say it on air how much we hate it. But like we're so negative even when we win because it just doesn't feel right. Like this offense hasn't been at all what we've expected. Josh, whether it's somewhat his fault, definitely offensive scheme's fault, receivers' fault, everything just doesn't go. Like this offense does not work. It doesn't go. It doesn't feel there's no chemistry. There's no like smooth sailing. Like it just feels forced at all times. And it's so frustrating to watch. And you have a dude who's just a top 3 talent, even at his worst days. Like, he's a top 3 guy in this league. And to see him just not be able to figure it out or not trust what he's seeing or not just like rip it like he used to, like you said, like it feels like a little dead out there, and in the locker room, it probably feels a little dead. And, it's just, you look at worse teams, like Jackson Dart and Brian Daboll, like not that good yet, but like just that intensity that you see like Daboll instills in Dart, which like I feel like we used to see with him and Josh, and you miss that. Like I really miss that right now.
Oh yeah, no, I think you and a lot of people, Bills Mafia, miss this right now. The thing about that scheme, I think, is really frustrating for the Bills too, is that despite all the negative, right, that we're going to get into, up until Devon Achane broke off that 59-yarder in the fourth quarter, the Bills still had a chance.
Yeah.
Like James Cook doesn't fumble that one in the second quarter, we're talking a different story. If Josh Allen doesn't just goes down or just holds on to the ball, with the Josh Allen fumble, I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, just go down in that situation." I think hindsight's 20/20 in that we've seen enough from Josh Allen. I think he gets the pass to go try to make a little bit of a break there in that, because obviously if it pans out and he breaks off for a huge run, doesn't fumble it, we're having a different discussion, right? I think Josh Allen has earned some grace in that part too, but the interception late in the second half, or late in the first half, where he was trying to go for Tyrell Shavers, who actually did run a nice in route to get himself in the back of the end zone, but he just underthrew him. And I thought the pass was going to Dawson Knox, but he says he was actually throwing for Shavers in the end zone. So like Allen's not free of any blame on this, what I called yesterday a blame pie going around too. He definitely struggled, but it feels like, and you talked about it too, like the way this offense looks right now, there's like a pendulum, and has swung so far in the direction of being this run heavy team that runs it down your throat, 13-man personnel. And you just don't have that vertical threat that makes defenses have to fear you there too. So safeties aren't taking you legit. You're seeing more like Miami yesterday basically just said, let's go see if any receiver can beat us deep. Let's stack the box. Let's limit James Cook and what he can do. Contain Josh Allen scrambles. Don't let him use his legs that much. And when his receivers need to make a play, it just wasn't there again. Like there's a very one-dimensional tone of this offense. And if the Bills want to go to the places they want to and achieve the goals that they set out for themselves this year, that has to change. And I don't even know if like Joshua Palmer coming back off injury, right? Like your vertical threat guy, how much does that change, Bill? Like how much of it does it actually change with Joshua Palmer coming in?
Like,
I don't know.
We got he played 5 games, 6, like, yeah, probably around there, right?
Mm-hmm. Something like that. Yeah. Before he got hurt in Atlanta. So I think it was like six games. I think that was the 6th game he got hurt in. So yeah.
He had a couple good grabs, but like nothing that changed or like shifted too much. Like I guess that Ravens comeback, he had that huge play, but it wasn't like he was a focal point of the offense or what got the offense humming or made it look special. He was just another dude who, oh, he made a play.
Yeah.
See you next week. I mean, that's what it felt like with that.
It's like, I think Josh Palmer and Josh Allen were starting to develop their chemistry. I think it was taking them a little bit of time. But as it was starting to go, like the first play in that Atlanta game with them, it was really nice. It was like, oh my God, there it is. So I'm not ready to like put the nail in the coffin on Joshua Palmer not being the answer here. But also, like, we just haven't gotten to see enough from him to be like, oh, okay, that's going to alleviate some of the vertical threat concerns. I look at the receiving core, and it's just another tough game from Keon. I really did like that play he made for the touchdown. It was a good one-on-one ball, good pass from Josh, the kind of thing that I think Keon excels at, but it has to be more frequent. And we're going to have this conversation every week about what Keon's role is and what he's doing specifically in this offense, because it's too inconsistent. Bill, when it comes to the receivers, just in general, like, the separation continues just to be such an issue that I think spawns off the fact that there's aren't good play designs down the field that are getting these guys open in space. Like Khalil Shakir, was there a rule that Khalil Shakir for like the first 3 quarters yesterday had to catch the ball behind the line of scrimmage? Was that written into his contract? I'm so puzzled by, like, every week we have these things, and we talk to Joe Brady and he goes, I got to do more. We're going to do more. Josh has said, I got to do better. We got to do more, but we're having the same problems. Bill, I saw better separation from my parents going through their divorce process than I am seeing from the Bills wide receiving core right now. And that's not good. That's pitiful. And we're having the same discussions over and over again. And going back to Tuesday with the trade deadline, right? Like, I believe Brandon Beane did try to make the move for Jalen Waddle, Garrett Wilson, whoever it may be, right? I wholeheartedly believe that. But they wanted a 2026 first, reportedly. Beane only wanted to give the 2027 away. Tough when he goes down and burns you on a 38-yard go route against Max Harrison. Like, hindsight 2020, if that doesn't happen, maybe we're having a different discussion too. But it's really tough to have this game after the trade deadline. Like, if this was the Chiefs game last week, we could have been like, oh, okay, good. Beane has some things to address. Maybe he'll be a little bit more aggressive. Yeah. That time's already gone. And Beane told us this past week that this is a championship roster. Bill, in your best estimation, do you believe this is a championship roster?
I hope we look back on this and somebody clips this and like puts it as like the start of a like they hated on me championship montage. Good. But I'm gonna say no, but like I'm hoping I'm wrong. Like, I love to be wrong right now.
Freezing cold takes quote tweets this podcast. Yeah,
but no, it does not feel like that at all. Like, I don't know. They've done this before, right? Like, there's been times where I felt that we were totally shot. The Buccaneers game and whatever that was, 2021, we lose in like overtime or whatever.
Yep.
Felt pretty down. The Eagles lost, then we went on and kind of snuck it. I think we went on a heater, snuck in the playoffs that one year.
Yeah, that 2023, 2022. Yeah, I remember they had to go. It's almost like a little bit like what they have to do right now to win the division. They had to win out, and they did. Had that really close game against the Chargers like a day before Christmas Eve. Yeah.
So, like, we've been here before. We probably felt this way before, but like, I just don't see the answer on this roster. Like, I don't think I've ever seen the offense this bad. I don't think I've seen this much holes on the defense with whether it be injuries or just whatever, people aging a little worse, like, or faster than we expected. I don't know. Maybe there's a way. Maybe like we've said before, we said this last week, like, there are dudes on this roster, these receivers who they're not world beaters, but they've been good NFL players. Like, they came here and you're putting them with Josh Allen, and based on Josh Allen's skill and his track record with other receivers, you're looking at them and saying, oh, they're going to play the best football of their life with this guy. And they're playing the worst football of their life. And I don't know, did they all fall off a cliff? That seems kind of weird to me. Like, I just can't imagine that that's true. So scrap everything. Like, you're desperate now. You know what I mean? throw away what you think is the plan and what you think is supposed to work and start from scratch. And I think it's pretty simple. Like, I think we've all, as Bills fans, seen this for years, but like up tempo is when we are at our best on offense. Like Josh Allen crushes up tempo. And in the Ravens game, when we're desperate and we have to score and we go up tempo, we come back and win like that. It seems so simple to me that like that is what we should be based in. And I hate, like, it's funny. It's kind of weird and ironic. And like, as much as we always compare things to like the 90s Bills and stuff, but like, it's right there for us. Like, that's what they did. And it worked so good. And like, I know not everything is like cyclical like that. And it seems like Disney movie-esque for that to be the answer, but it does feel like that is the one thing I think that if you can't get these dudes open with scheme and all this stuff, turn into backyard football. Like, go fast, tire out the defense, use your athletic quarterback and these quick little dudes we have to just go. I don't know.
No, I mean, to your point, Bill, like, look at, and this is why I agree with you. Look at last year. Like, look at a guy like Matt Collins, right? Matt Collins, we knew who he was coming into this. And I think a lot of people had some concerns about who Matt Collins was, just as like, oh, is this going to be a skill set guy that Josh is going to rely on in the offense? Well, it worked out. It worked out really well. And I think Josh got the best out of Matt Collins. But this wide receiving core right now, like with some of the piece, I go back, we talk a lot about Curtis Samuel. And I talk a lot about Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore had a pretty solid year last year in Cleveland with Jameis Winston as his quarterback. Curtis Samuel is a multi-tool weapon that I just don't think we've gotten the best out of, and he makes a lot of money. So that's what kills people, I think, about Curtis Samuel being on this team, is that he makes $6-7 million a year, doesn't produce and doesn't get the opportunities to produce the way he wants to. And you would think like Josh Allen would bring that out. Like, he brought that out in a guy like Matt Collins. Matt Collins has like a $10 million contract because of Josh Allen now with the New England Patriots. This is very like, I look at like Samuel and Moore and the same amount of impact right now that I looked at with Trent Sherfield and Deontay Hardy. And that's not good because they're better than them. And and this is another discussion where it's just, how much of this is on Josh? How much of it is on Joe Brady scheming things up? And it goes back to what I said too. I just think they've tried to swing the pendulum in the identity of like, let's be a run heavy team, win the line of scrimmage. And you and I have both been big James Cook supporters. And I think it's important that James Cook is a part of this offense. I love to see him can a little bit more involved in the receiving game, him come and catch some passes. But it's got to be a little bit more. Like McDermott said it yesterday, it has to work in tandem. Like, you can't just be a one-dimensional passing offense like the Bills kind of used to be before James Cook rose to the ranks he is. But now you're switching back. It's swung in the other direction where you're becoming so one-dimensional, relying on the 12, 13-man personnel with James Cook having to have these big breakout games. It's not working. And I'm at a loss for words as to, like, what is Joe Brady? What's his fix? What's Sean McDermott's fix? What's Josh Allen's fix to get this offense going here too? Because we've seen it. We've seen it this year. Like, when it clicks, the Chiefs game, we just had a podcast last week where we were like, wow, Bills looked really good, Bill. And here we are a week later and they get dog walked by the Miami Dolphins, lose by 2.5 scores. It's frustrating. And it goes back to what we said, I think, when they lost to the Falcons or the Patriots and we had this podcast. It's hard not to be critical because they are 6-3. And if the season did end today, I was looking at the standings, Bill, when you're making that point. Right now, they would be the 6th seed in the playoffs. So they'd still be in, whole season ahead of them. They're not going to be in, they're not getting pushed out by the Jets or the Dolphins, but they have to keep pace with the guys like the Jaguars and the Chiefs who are still trying to climb their way back up there too, you know? So that's a real thing. Oh, and by the way, the Baltimore Ravens won again too. They're not going away anytime soon. But we're at this point where we're being nitpicky. I actually don't think we're being nitpicky. I think we're actually just being fairly critical of like the division, the conference, more so the conference is wide open. It's there for the taking. And this is a team that has the ability to play at a level that can get you into the places you want to be in, but they're not. And again, they're 6-3. And to your point too, go back to that. It was the 2023 year. So what Bill was getting at, they lost that whole stretch as they win that really close game against the Bucs on Thursday Night Football. And then they lose to Cincinnati on Sunday Night Football. And then they lost that stinker to Russ Wilson and the Denver Broncos. So they went back to back, beat the Jets, curb stomped the Jets. And then they lost to the Eagles in that overtime rain game in Philly. The Bills were 6-6 at that point. And I remember, I'm sure you do, dire situation. The Bills essentially had to win out, and they did. They beat Kansas City by 3 the next week. They beat Dallas, murdered them. Went and beat the Chargers on the road 2 days before Christmas by 2. Beat New England, beat Miami, got into the playoffs, and then, unfortunately, it ended in that divisional loss to Kansas City. But the Bills have been in worse situations, but I think our frustration probably depends from the fact that we're not in that situation, and it feels like we're trending that way when we don't need to be, when this conference is so wide open.
Yeah. And I know it's not the most popular thing to, I know the article was kind of heavily criticized and made a lot of people angry when it came out, but Ty Dunn, when he released, that was that year when Ty Dunn did release that Sean McDermott article.
Oh, yep.
And that kind of like sparked the run. But like, there was a lot of truths to me. I always kind of believed in that article. Like, maybe not, I don't know, maybe not everything, you never know. But dude, one of the big points of that article was that like, you have this freak unicorn quarterback and you're obsessed with like this idea of like this balanced offense and like this poised, calm, multifaceted thing, which is like good, but like that is a unicorn. That is one of the best players on the planet. I mean, he's the reigning MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what makes good balance and getting the run game stronger is that you were trying to do that with James Cook and Zach Moss, who are at best RB2s. And now you have, I'm sorry, did I say James? Devin Singletary and Zach Moss. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got you.
So you're doing it with Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, who are RB2s. And now you have James Cook, who is a superstar. You don't have to put this much effort into making like the run game a thing and like, hey, we have to have this many runs or whatever it has to be. It's like this offense runs through the quarterback. You have in my opinion, probably the most talented quarterback in the league, probably the best or second best quarterback in the league.
Mm-hmm.
You have James Cook now. Like that solves that issue on its own. He's just a better running back. His vision, his speed, what he can do, like just lean into that. Don't try to do this like mental gymnastics of what the offense should be and has to be. It's like, no, you have Josh Allen. It's a cheat code. Use it.
I think I'm like, when it came to like, I was writing a post-game article about the blame, about the offense. And I probably give Josh Allen a lot of credit, more than maybe some other people do, especially yesterday. Like he had some mistakes, sure. But again, like that's why I'll never say the season is totally over. It's doom and gloom until I see like the graphic, God forbid, like Bills officially eliminated from the playoffs. And that's why I'll never say the Bills don't have a chance, is because Josh Allen's your quarterback. And the best reminder, for as bad as things went with Josh Allen yesterday, look at that third down conversion pass to Curtis Samuel. That was amazing. That was idiotic how he gets that to go. Like that is just ludicrous chaos. He's a sicko. How he gets that to like the amount of elusiveness, running through the pocket, basically doing like Bo Jackson 99 overall stuff in the backfield to go find a play. And he made it. So like it's that part of it that's also frustrating, is because you feel like that's a very a hyperextended look at like what Josh Allen can do. But like, look at last week when he made 3 incomplete, had the same amount of incompletions as he did touchdowns. Like Josh Allen is an elite level quarterback. He's a reigning MVP for a reason. And to your point, Bill, Bruce Nolan tweeted this yesterday, and I really like this. It was when he tweeted, when the Bills signed Emmanuel Sanders in March of 2021 after coming off Josh Allen's most productive passing season, the 2020 COVID year when the Bills made it to the AFC Championship, loss to the Chiefs, General Manager Brandon Beane said, quote, they didn't want to lose their fastball, end quote. They did it. So to that point, they kept the fastball, had some guys in there. You had Emmanuel Sanders, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Beasley. Over the years, you still had Diggs and Davis. And then last year, you got kind of a little bit of a formation of receivers, and some things started to work. It feels like you've lost that fastball. Like Josh Allen just doesn't have confidence or trust in any of his guys to do it. I think that was evident by the interception he threw trying to get it to Tyrell Shavers. He completely underthrew it. Almost looked like he was trying to go to Dawson Knox there. The Bills have lost their fastball. And when you have an MVP quarterback like that, it's not good. Sorry, Bill, go ahead.
I think one of the things to think about in that post that Bruce made, which was perfect, is Gabe Davis had, John Brown got hurt that year, who was supposed to be like our boundary guy along with Diggs, and you had Beasley, and Gabe Davis stepped in and played well. I think he had 600 yards as a rookie, a handful of touchdowns, some really good toe drag plays, big plays. And we didn't just sit and rest on our laurels and be like, hey, this guy's gonna, this guy looks the part, let's lean into him. We went out and we got Emmanuel Sanders too. You know what I mean? We were load up the offense. This is the guy. We got every weapon we can, every opportunity we can. Let's lean into Josh. And somehow we have, as Josh has progressed and gotten better, we have completely shifted mindset that oh, he doesn't need that. He doesn't need that. Let's get a 6 lineman in here most of the time. And let's get tight ends who can block, which is good. Don't get me wrong. Jackson Hawes has been awesome. And, we got 3 tight ends who are solid, but give this man weapons. The receivers are just so like we said, I don't even know what it is. Cause I do think some of these guys are really talented, and I don't know if it's the scheme or that. I don't know.
They're the puzzle pieces, and you don't know where to put them. They're they have their shape, and you see there's the puzzle, and then there's the Curtis Samuels, the Elijah Moores, the Keon Coleman's. You have them, and there's only 3 open spots left, and those puzzle pieces don't fit right now. And you got to find a way to make them fit.
And we keep shuffling. We keep bringing in. We keep shuffling the puzzle pieces to. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you bring Shavers out half the time, and you bring let's just stick to 4 dudes. You know what I mean? If someone gets tired, bring in the 6th and the 7th guy. But let's stick to your tight end 1, 3 receivers, maybe a 4th dude sometimes. Spread it out. I don't know if I'm crazy, but I imagine James Cook would be good in a spread offense also. I think back to the Chan Gailey years when we had terrible receivers and we're running a spread offense and it's working. Besides Stevie Johnson, I want to give my respect to Stevie Johnson. He was awesome. But you spread it open for a dude like CJ Spiller, who I feel is very on par kind of with James. I think James is better, but speed-wise, the idea of CJ Spiller. And he was awesome in that. Why? And we have these athletic linemen also, which is a good, sometimes I wish Chan Gailey was here. I know he wasn't a good head coach. I loved him. And I think his offense philosophy would be so perfect for Josh. I'm not here banging the table, hire Chan Gailey for head coach. But man, sometimes I'm just I wish he was just our OC. I wish he came at a different time and was our OC, because he really had a revolutionary, ahead of his time idea for what the offense could be.
It's listen, there's one of the bright spots that I really thought we were going to get to talk about more again was the Allen Kincaid connection has been so strong this season, but then Kincaid goes out with a hamstring injury, and there really aren't, folks, that many hamstring injuries where you're back and good in a week. So expect Dalton Kincaid to miss some time. So the injury bug continues to happen there too. It's Landon Jackson goes down with a knee injury. That doesn't look good either. So there's some very viable frustration that this team can have with the injury history. But again, I was going back, Bill, and looking at the box score from just the Broncos game last year in the playoffs when the Bills came back, won 31-7. So a big win there too. You just had the Bills, I think, and if you're Brandon Beane and you're Sean McDermott, mostly Beane, because he probably looked at this roster and said, well, last year I made it to the AFC Championship game with Matt Collins, Amari Cooper, Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Josh Allen, and James Cook, and we made it all happen there too, and thought he could roll the dice, make it happen again. Give up that first-round pick. Yeah. Go get your guy. If you look at the window of opportunity, it's there. And this is going to be another one of those tough years where if the Bills can't figure it out and pull it off, we're going to be having some really tough conversations again about another opportunity missed with a 29-year-old Josh Allen still in his prime. This is a personal thing because I cover this team, and I will always tell people I don't root for any team I cover, but I do hope the teams I cover are successful. It's why it's been tough to cover the Sabres since I've started working here at Channel 7. It's because I want to see the Sabres be good because I want to cover good teams. My first 2 years when I worked in Tallahassee was covering the Florida State Seminoles in the beginning of their rebuild. That stunk. Like, credit to Norvell for kind of turning it around, but that stunk down there. I want to cover a team that's good, and I want to cover teams that allow me maybe the opportunity to go cover a Super Bowl one day. But I'm a massive LA Angels fan, and I've had to watch the LA Angels not make a playoff since 2014, while they wasted the career of Mike Trout. He has played a whopping 3 total games in October, his entire career. And I also had to watch them almost waste Shohei Ohtani's potential. Imagine the last 2 or 3 years we've seen Shohei Ohtani in the playoffs. Imagine that the Angels had, God forbid, found a way to keep him, and then we don't get to see that kind of stuff in there too. That's depressing. That's so sad. I think for like sports fans, it's like I've heard so many people, Bill, and I'm sure you have too, hear the thing as like, oh, I want to see the Bills win one. I want to see Josh Allen get one. That's a real thing. Like, the Bills are a fun, exciting team to people outside of Western New York. But the Bills are the best team at getting in their own way. And I don't know when that stops. I don't know when we get to change that conversation, but that's what I think makes us have to expedite or rapidly talk about these concerns, and it makes it feel so doom and gloom. Is you only have Josh Allen in his prime for X amount of time, and I think he's going to be playing football for the Buffalo Bills for a long time. I saw some wild discussions yesterday that like Josh Allen's going to leave the Bills. I don't think that's happening. I don't think they let him leave at any point in the next 5 or 6 years. Maybe when he reaches Rodgers' age type stuff, we're having a different conversation there too. But you have the window, the opportunity, it's there. And we're having these discussions because the Bills don't look like a championship roster team. They don't look like they're a team that's going to go play in Santa Clara in February. That could all change. We could be having a different conversation next week, but that's what's frustrating, is it just doesn't feel like this team has any juice. They look a little bit lost. They don't have that identity on offense. And defensively, I think they've started to turn it around a little bit there too. The fourth quarter was tough, like Achane breaking off some big runs. But at that point too, like, they kept you in the game as long as you could.
They did.
They really, with how banged up they are in defensive line and not really getting any reinforcements there to help out. You lost Landon Jackson again. Defense, I thought, did the best they could with what they had, and the offense just couldn't capitalize. So that was a tough game and a brutal one. That maybe the Bills have a wake up call, and this is like one of those moments where it's like 2023, like they go on a run, they go on a heater. I mean, look at how well they played. You know, I go back to like unfortunately the 13-second year, right? Like, that was a tough year. They lost 6 games, but then they went on a heater and you put together some really good performances. Same in last season, same in 22. So it's a tough one that they're going to have to learn from, but it did nonetheless, Bill, it opened up our eyes, I think, at least mine, to a lot of deficiencies that the Bills have to figure out if they want to be that team that's playing in February.
Yeah. I think when you talk about, the anger and frustration, and like you said, as the Angels fan, you're watching, some of the best players in the game get wasted, and you feel that as a fan, and you see Josh getting older. And I think our fan base, more than anyone, understands how difficult it is to find a quarterback, a serviceable quarterback, let alone a franchise all-world quarterback. Like, we sat through years and years of mistakes and bad draft picks and free, like, underdogs and free agents and former MVPs, even like Drew Bledsoe. Yeah. And it never worked. And it took almost my entire childhood into my mid-20s or early-ish mid-20s to get a guy who is good. Like, and now you're getting to the point where, like, he's getting older and I'm getting older and my dad's getting older and he has never seen a Super Bowl and it's all he wants. And I have grandparents who have passed and are getting really old who have never seen a Super Bowl, and it's all we want. And it's so frustrating. And I think that is the part that, I don't know, maybe inside those doors, they don't totally get that. Cause like, you didn't grow up a Bills fan. Like, I know these guys love being here and everything, but like, I grew up in this, my family is this, and this whole community is so much of this. And this is all we want sometimes. And it just feels like we're just wasting it and we're not taking advantage of what we have here. And you get to the point, like you said, where like, you think Josh is going to be here a long time. So do I. I know he wants to. But even as the fan, dude, I was talking about this with my friend yesterday, and I hate saying it and I hate thinking about it. But I was like, dude, in 4 4 or 5 years, if this hasn't happened, it's going to be like the Matt Stafford Lions situation where like you almost want to move on for the betterment of Josh and what he's done for you. And you're not even mad, dude. You're like cheering for this guy to go and win somewhere else because he deserves it and he's so good. And it sucks. I don't want to think like that. Like I want it here and he wants it here. And I know we all want it so bad from generations of Bills fans and this whole freaking city and cities, Rochester to Buffalo to a little bit of Syracuse even. Dude. And you just feel like, I feel like that, like you said, the doom and gloom, it's because that is in our head. Like it's getting closer. And back in the day when we lost 13 seconds and we, it's still kind of there. You're like, oh man, that was a really good chance, but we're going to get it again. He's young. This whole roster is young. This roster is not young anymore. And we have big contracts. And it's hard to find, like we're showing we can't find the talent when we have money tied up and we're not drafting great. And,
they're old in the places that don't help them, young in the places that are ascending and rising for sure. Fans like you, people who cover the team like me, we're all in agreement that there is a special talent that the Bills have under center. And it's also, there's some special talent around this roster that the Bills have opportunities to achieve the things and finally stop the narrative about the city of losers and all this other nonsense and this talk that the outside perspective of people who aren't from Western New York, didn't grow up a Bills fan, weren't raised in a household of Bills fans. My whole I have family that grew up Bills fans. Like I understand full well what it means to have this kind of special talent, to have a Josh Allen after years of cycling through the JP Lossmans and the Trent Edwards and EJ Manuel, Thad Lewis, I could Nate Peterman go on. I could go on and on and on, So, and listen, for what it's worth too, we were talking about that Jacksonville game in 2021. I'm there with you, Bills fans. Like I've seen some really bad quarterback play, some heartbreak. I was unfortunately at the game in Los Angeles where Peterman threw 5 interceptions. I was there. I was in Jacksonville in 2021. Like my first Bills game I went to with my mom was the Browns 6-3 loss, back in 2009.
I was there too.
2011, what it was. Yeah. So like
2009.
Was it? Yeah. So 2009, like it's real. And I get that. But there was a question that I remember during, I think it was the 22 season. Cause I remember Micah and Jordan were still here. Jerry Sullivan asked Josh Allen, is this a Super Bowl caliber offense? Yeah, I know. But he asked a question. He goes, this is Super Bowl caliber offense. Josh Allen just said, okay. And just like shook his head. And it was like the famous meme. It is what it is right now. I find myself asking that question. And right now, no, it's not a Super Bowl caliber offense. It's not even close. It's not even close until something drastically changes with the way they have to scheme this offense and how they're going to get the most out of Josh Allen and the pieces that are around him. Because quite frankly, there isn't like a free agent spectacle. Like there isn't like prime, like Odell Beckham Jr. free agent wide receivers, not prime OBJ that's going to come and be your savior. You're going to have to find a way to make something out of I don't want to say nothing, but make something out of this inefficient offense with the pieces that you have to string it together. And I go back, if I leave any sort of optimism about this, I go back to the fact that you have Josh Allen. That's a reigning MVP for a reason. It is possible, but it is going to take some creativity. It's going to take a little bit of uncomfortability, I think, of this team trying to figure it out over the course of the next however many weeks, whether we're going into week 11. So, 6 weeks or so of the regular season before the playoffs, because the other thing you cannot do that I don't think the Bills are going to, but we can't have the conversation about the Bills missing the playoffs. Like that goes back to the whole like Mike Trout conversation. Josh Allen does not miss playoffs when he's the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. That's just inexcusable. Like you can't have that. You cannot have that. When you talk about, to your argument, Bill, go ask any Jets fans right now how it feels to not have your franchise quarterback locked down. Or any other team, right? Fill in the blank. The Arizona Cardinals, some team that doesn't have a Josh Allen or a franchise quarterback, talk to them how they feel about it right now. So that's just not an option with Josh. So something has to change. They have to get more creative. My last question to you, Bill, before we start to move on, and we'll talk a little bit about your video and our final thoughts here as we start to wrap it up. Do you think, one, Joe Brady needs to be fired or they're going to change from Brady? Do you think Sean McDermott or Brandon Beane get fired this offseason? Or are you willing to wait it out and see how the rest of the season goes? Because this has also been a hot topic about the way that Bills fans have reacted to this. Go figure. We know that's how Bills fans are. But what do you think has to be done, if anything, organizationally, to get the best out of this offense?
I think what has always frustrated me a little bit with having a defensive head coach, and I'm not like totally opposed to it, and I'm not totally anti-McDermott, but you know, when Bobby Babich struggles on calling the defense, what does Sean McDermott do? He rolls up his sleeves, he gets involved, he starts calling the plays, and he's good at it. Like, he's really good at it, and he makes changes right away, and it like happens like that. And you have Josh Allen, who's a beast, like we've just talked about, and Joe Brady is struggling. Obviously, like, I think it's pretty apparent that he is struggling, the team is struggling. And Sean McDermott, I don't know, has that. He definitely doesn't have that offensive mind to step in, roll up his sleeves, and say, like, hey, we can fix this in-house, and we don't have to fire this guy, or whatever you want to say. So I don't know. Like, I don't want to call for anyone's job necessarily. And I do think the brass of this regime, like Beane and the higher, like McDermott, the more higher up people have earned at least to like not get fired in season. Like, as much as like I could be frustrated, I do believe that. But like, if you've followed me long enough, you know I'm not the biggest fan of McDermott and this regime, and I'm definitely not opposed to a big change. Even if, I mean, I'm talking like, even if you just don't make the Super Bowl, like at this point, like, I'm a Knicks fan. We are good, really good. We made as far as we've gone since the 90s. And we fired our head coach because he just couldn't figure out how to make the pieces work together. And it didn't matter that we were successful and we won in playoffs and we made it to the conference finals. It didn't matter. Like, he wasn't the guy. And like, it's apparent, like, even now, 9 games into that season, they look totally different, and it's exciting. So I don't know. It's hard. I don't.
It's a tough question.
I think more than anything, I would like for Josh Allen to understand like the power he has as who he is, as this franchise quarterback, as the reigning MVP, that like he has so much control. Like, he can say anything and Terry Pegula has to do it. Like, he is that important and that viable that maybe you don't fire Joe Brady, but maybe Josh Allen says, hey dude, I'm going up tempo. I don't care what you say. Or, hey, this play sucks. You know what I mean? Like, he has an authority, like almost like a Peyton Manning, when like you would see him completely scrap whatever it was called. I feel like at the line, Tom Brady too. Like, they had that wherewithal and like confidence in what they saw and what they could do, that like it didn't matter. They would check out of everything and audible everything. So I don't know if that's the answer. I don't know what the answer is. It sucks. Like, I like this regime. They've done a lot and they've taken us out of a bad place, but I'm definitely not sold on them. I don't know if you like go clean house all of a sudden mid-season, unless disaster strikes, maybe like a couple I don't know.
Right. I agree with you. I think you're not clearing house until potentially like if before like week 17, the Bills are like, they go on a skid and they get eliminated from the playoffs. But even then though, like,
you might as well just let them finish it out. It's kind of,
yeah. And like, cause I think if like you're a Bills fan saying like, oh, fire McDermott, fire Beane right now, big regime change like that. That's when the team is 6-3. I'll just kind of stop you there. That's not good for a locker room because you still have an opportunity. You could still win the division. Yeah. Like, you could still go off, and quite frankly, you could still earn the 1 seed if you come back, run the table, you know, like there could be some losses anywhere. I do believe there will come to the point where like we talk in a few off seasons about this regime, about who McDermott is and what Beane has done. I don't think anything changes, even if the Bills make the playoffs and don't win the Super Bowl again. Beane's not getting fired. McDermott's not getting fired. And if you think I'm wrong, go look at how patient Terry Pegula has been with Kevin Adams with the Sabres. So
I don't think you're wrong, but I wish you were wrong.
I know. Listen, I get it, but like they're not getting fired too. And I do think the locker room really does like McDermott, and I do think they rally around what his message and his caliber is. But sometimes the messaging only can go so far when the results don't get you there. Yeah. So there will be the patience of Sean McDermott will wear off in this locker room. if they can't turn it around. I think Brandon Beane has to go into this offseason. If the Bills don't win a Super Bowl and they, let's just say like they earn a 6 or a 7 seed, they lose 5-6 games this year, and maybe they get eliminated in the first round, I think Beane has to come in with an aggressive offseason. Now, I do want to caution folks, well, because probably like, oh, Dom, yeah, that makes sense. That's what's going to, like, we would love that. He's going to have to cut some, he's going to have to not give some contracts to some guys that are pretty beloved. He's going to have to make some trades. He's going to have to cut some guys, and it's going to kind of almost resemble that. I call it the Black Tuesday or Black Friday, whatever it was, when they cut Poyer and Mitch and Gabe and Trey and everybody like a couple years ago when they had to kind of clear house before last season. That is a reality that the Bills face, though, is that if you do want that drastic turnover, that drastic change, it is going to cost you, because there are some expensive contracts on this roster, i.e. Josh Allen and Deion Dawkins, Spencer Brown, Rousseau, Benford, Khalil, TB, list goes on and on. Like there are some big contracts that will have to be settled, and that will cause Beane to have to make some drastic changes, and that will be the price for it. I think right now, Bills fans be like, I don't care, Dom. Doesn't matter what it is. Do it. Sell the house. Get Josh Allen a Super Bowl caliber offense that he can work with so we can go celebrate it. Cool. That's the Rams mentality. And then you start to get down that pigeonhole of like, okay, then you got to talk about years of rebuild. And I know the Rams did it pretty quickly with McVay to get things going there too, but Beane's been very adamant. He is not in the rebuild process. And I kind of agree with that. Like using Josh Allen during a rebuild year seems like an absolute waste of his talent. So,
but
okay,
what we're doing, like, I'm like so pro that, like the Rams idea at this point. And I think they've proven that if you have that dude and you trust your play calling and you trust your head coach, the rebuild isn't like a rebuild. It might be like a retool. It might be like they missed the playoffs one season and now they're contenders and they look amazing within 2 years or whatever that was.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So in my opinion, it's like, why not? Because what are we doing here? We're just, losing in the first round, losing in the second round. We made the division or the division final or whatever we would call it. I can't remember.
Divisional round. 2 years ago, divisional round. Last year, AFC Championship. 2021, divisional. Lost in divisional to the Bengals in 22. So yeah, let's I don't think this whole conversation about starting from scratch is like an unheard of, like, oh, don't miss me with that conversation. I just think that it does come with like, there's a cost and risk.
There's risk.
The Rams got it done pretty quickly. I'm asking you right now, to you, Bill, and the people listening to this podcast, what gives you the confidence that the Bills could turn a rebuild around if they had to go that way as quick as the Rams did?
True.
What gives you that confidence right now in this regime and the way that Beane runs the team? I don't know. That's another conversation, is how quickly could they ever get that turned around? I like the word retool that you use. I think there might have to be maybe a lean year if they go that way of like, we had to go get some things done. We have to draft well. They've got to go find a receiver. Like they've got to get somebody there. They've got to get some young talent and they've got to hit on it better. Sure. All those things, but it's a very tough conversation. It's a very tough question. I think the only thing that you ever would expect is Joe Brady. Maybe this offseason they have to evaluate. If things sputter and go really south, I think Joe Brady's probably the only person you have to talk about whose job security is up for risk. Aside from that, expect McDermott and expect Beane back last year. I still think in Terry Pagula's eyes, they've earned that trust at least. And whether you agree with that or not, it's your opinion. I could make the argument. I understand either way for any of you listening, but that's the reality.
Fair.
Nice. Yeah. All right. There it is. All right, Bill. So it looks like we're pretty good on this. Any last thoughts before we get into breaking down your video from this week?
No, I think we said everything I had to say.
Well, like I said, the Bills have done a good job at keeping the careers of Urban Meyer and now Mike McDaniel alive. And shout out to your buddy. He might be back for another skit. We thought he was dead. Thought that was the last time I see your friend Mike McDaniel's like stunt double. But no, we're back. So good to see him back out there, Bill. I love the I'll let you explain this, but I do want to know where do you get like the actual breathing tube from? Like that's medical grade breathing tube in this guy's nose.
Amazon. I just looked it up.
Nice. Okay.
Came in a day, came fast. Yeah, I mean it's funny because every time we do these, like the last one we thought was his last, so we did like the old like that's a rap on Mike McDaniel and did like a little like oh yeah, and then I had to call him back. I'm like, hey dude, I got one more for you. And again, we went out with this one. Think we did the same thing, thinking it was the end. Maybe it's not the end. Maybe he'll be back now. But that was funny. It was different. Like it was more of like a acting scene where we had like lines and stuff. But going in, I really liked that idea because the whole joke was Mike McDaniel's only beaten us once. So like the joke on the bet is like, hey, we had some good times. Like remember that one time we overbeat your sideline, and that was like the only win they ever had on us.
And then you started piling on
the line of like, hey, remember that time? Hey, remember that time? And then he's like, all right, like I'm done with this. But yeah, it was funny to me. It was everything seems not funny now when like Tua was Josh's baby and now we freaking lose and it sucks. Mm-hmm. And then McDaniels is on his deathbed and now we lose and it makes no sense. And the Tua excuse bingo board was good to me because, dude, some of the things he says at the podium are just like insane. Like the excuses he comes up with and like, I don't know. I've just never seen something like that. But we lost, so now I get trolled by the opposing fans, and I gotta just take it on the chin.
It is what it is. Hey, you've been down this road before. I get it. No, but it was a good video. I loved, like I said, the bed scene, and then you're just like, remember this time, and then this time, and it kind of made me. I'm like, oh my god, Bills really have just absolutely dog walk the Dolphins, ever since Josh Allen's been there. Obviously, yesterday it was a different story, and I will say, a little tease. I don't want to give it all your secrets away, but after we're done recording this, folks, if you think Brother Bill there's an off day, there's absolutely not. He's already getting ready for a future video coming up too, and you don't get to do the Bucks a lot too, so I'm excited for that one. I always like when you get the team and you don't get to see them a whole lot. It's been, I think, 2 or 3 years. I think it was that 2022 season where they last played the Bucks, so an exciting one to kind of look forward to there.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think I have a few good ideas that I thought were pretty funny.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, we'll look forward to that one. Hopefully, when we talk to you guys next week, we're talking about Bill's video more positively because the Bills actually won. Get back to 7-3, get back on the right track, and maybe some of these concerns that we've basically laid out for you for the last 50 minutes or so all get alleviated. Oh, go ahead.
Jack Stacks Barbecue is sending me a new package.
Oh, Jack. Hey, there we go.
Sure to tell me there is meat inside. They made sure that they disclosed there will be meat inside. Please refrigerate.
Yeah. Thank you, Jack Stack. Thank you very much for as Brother Bill's co-host. I will say he will properly take care of his meat this time. So. Yeah. All right, folks. Thank you for tuning in. This is Leading the Charge, the podcast for Brother Bill. I'm Dom Tibbetts. We'll talk to you guys next time.